Your Town, Dorothy Thompson speaking to you today from in front of the Richland Center Community Center and Senior Center. And from here we'll head right down that way just a little bit for a tour of the Richland County Ambulance Service. I'm taking a little walk in the gym here at the community center. They have walking hours, pickleball hours, gym hours. And now we'll head over to the Richland County Ambulance Service and we'll speak with Amber Birch and John Heinen.
Well, good morning. We're here on Jefferson and 7th Street. And who are you?
I'm Amber Birch. I am the Interim Service Director, and welcome to our building.
I'm John Heinen. I'm the Interim Director for Emergency Management, also sharing the building with the ambulance service.
It looks like I walked into a house.
Yeah, so here at the Emergency Services building for Richland County, the ambulance and emergency management share the space. And for the ambulance, we have our staff, we have full-time, casual call-in, which are part-time, and then paid on-call staff who are the volunteers. And because we have full-time staff and part-time staff, they stay here when they're on call. So when somebody's on call, we need to be able to have the general amenities of what you would have in a home. So you see we have the living room area.
Let me go look.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, I just feel like I'm intruding into someone's home here.
No, you're good. So we've got a living room, we've got the TV, the couches and chairs were actually all donated. So we are able to use this space after we get our normal business hours done. People need to be able to just relax at the end of the day too. So this is an area that people can watch movies, watch TV, and just enjoy each other's company.
Is this the spot where they would just talk if they needed to also?
Yeah, it's one of the places, but we actually don't utilize this as often as one of the other areas that we're going to go see is the report writing area. And that's kind of more of a high traffic spot. And so if somebody's sitting in there working on a report, it's not uncommon that, if we know that it was a difficult thing or we're just checking in with somebody, we just sit down in one of the other chairs and chat. So it works out pretty nice.
And this building, we were talking a little bit before I started filming, and was built in the 50s, I suppose.
Yeah,
40s or 50s.
So I believe the original part of the building was built in the 50s, and then there was an addition adding this side, and then there was another addition adding what became the garage area.
Oh, the garage, that's not all that old.
No, nope. And then we had to do an extension so that we could get the ambulances to fit, because they are slightly large. We've got a piano here. Robin Pearson is tuning that when he's got some downtime when he's on. He's one of our casual members. And so he's tuning that and is planning to sell it and donate the funds to the ambulance service.
So you do gather around and have a...
We've had a few times where, because we've got some skilled people, so every once in a while you'll hear somebody start playing the piano, which is pretty cool.
I don't know how many keys.
Because you can hear it across the building.
It's a shorter...
It is.
Yeah,
it's not
petite piano.
Yep. Robin would have to give you the information on that. I don't have any knowledge on pianos, other than you hit the keys and it makes a sound.
That's good. Well, that's enough. That's all you need to know.
So unlike at the courthouse, we actually have access to a shower and laundry facilities now that we're here. So one of the really nice things that we have is when we go on, you know, a call that may be not the cleanest kind of a situation, having the ability to come back and shower and have clean clothes is really helpful, and it's kind of vital too, because nobody wants us to go on one of those calls and get somebody's yuck on us and
Right.
then go into somebody else's home to lift them and, you know, be smelling and having that stuff around. So so it's really, really nice to be able to have that option. So this is what I was referring to as the report writing area.
And what is this map?
So this is a map of our service area for the ambulance. So anything that is that yellow is our area that we cover. So we cover, I think it's 10 villages, 2 towns, or 2 villages, 10 towns, and the city of Richland Center. And then if any of the other services in the area are already out on a call, or if they're unable to get a crew, that kind of thing, then we also provide mutual aid to them for making sure that people who are needing an ambulance get an ambulance. But we cover quite a bit of area. And then we've also got 2 first responder groups. So there's the first responders over out of Ithaca, and then the first responders up in Yuba. And they also cover quite a bit of area. We've got these computers set up that when somebody goes on a call, they come back, they're able to sit down and start working on that report. So you've got various documents and things that are related to that, like our protocols and exposure plan and that kind of thing. But so while somebody might be writing their report, we have these chairs over here. And again, these chairs, the table, and the fireplace were all donated. All of that was actually donated by members to give the place a little bit more of a homey feel.
Yeah.
And then speaking of home, we have bedrooms. So again, we have people stay 24/7, which means that we need to have places for people to sleep. So this is the standard of what we keep in the bedroom. So we've got the mattress, people bring their own linens. We've got a nightstand, a chair, and then a fan and chargers for the different equipment that people have. And then we've got the whiteboards on each of the doors for the bedrooms so that we know
Do not disturb.
who's,
Oh, yeah.
yep, and we know who's in which room,
Right.
so we know if a room is taken, which is really helpful.
You didn't have this at the courthouse.
So at the courthouse, we had repurposed a different office. It used to be the coroner's office.
Oh.
That became the bedroom for our staff. And we only had 1 bedroom at the courthouse. We had 2 beds, so we would have in what was our lounge area where we had the couch, people would just sleep in there. And then if we had mixed genders, or the setup was right, there were a few of us who worked in the office. We actually just slept in our office, so it was not ideal.
That's comfort. Oh, that sounds just great.
It was an interesting time. Yep. I never expected when I started with the ambulance service that I would sleep in my file room, but it was cozy. But so we've got 4 bedrooms with 5 beds here, so that we have the ability to have any staff. With the 3 trucks, that means that all of the trucks have the ability to be staffed, because we have to have 2 licensed members. So worst case scenario, we've got the 5 beds full. We can have somebody sleep on the couch if we had to at this point.
Just like at home.
Yeah, pretty
So
much.
who was here? Did you stay overnight here last night?
Last night, the crew that was on last night was off at 8 a.m.
Okay.
So they've gone home, but the crew that's going to be staying tonight is here.
All right.
So if you wanted to chat with them about what it's like to sleep in the building and stuff.
Or I'll just pop in about midnight and just see how things are going.
Yeah, I'm sure they wouldn't mind.
No, I'm sure.
So this is one of our favorite rooms, as in most homes, the kitchen. It's pretty awesome. So the kitchen cabinets don't have the countertops on them yet. We actually had those cabinets donated this fall, and we've got the countertops on the way, so we're pretty excited about that. But the person who donated them had recognized that the amount of time that we spend in the kitchen, you know, hanging out with each other and getting to chat, and then, you know, obviously meals are an important thing. They recognized that we needed to be able to have the space for things to not be just stored in boxes and stuff on the floor. So, so they donated the cabinets for us, and we are incredibly grateful for that.
Well, the kitchen's always the gathering place at
Yep.
holidays. I
Yeah.
remember going to my grandparents' house. Whether you like it or not, everyone is jammed into the kitchen for, you know.
Yep, that's where the
just
food is.
Yeah, it's always warm too.
You're always grazing, you know?
Yep,
and,
yep.
And for EMS, that's where the coffee pot is. So.
Okay, you've
yeah,
got
coffee.
1, 2, 3.
The one's hot water.
Oh, hot water.
Yeah,
water
but
there.
we do have a few other of them stashed around the building.
Okay.
We won't provide an official count of the number of coffee makers, but we've got a few.
Yeah, we'll just keep it secret.
Got some backups. Emergencies happen. We
Oh,
need to
yeah.
be prepared. So, and as the sign there says, anything's possible with enough coffee.
Oh yeah, I see that. Well, that's true. Your dishwasher.
Yep. Yep. And at the courthouse, again, we didn't have a true kitchen. So we shared the kitchen with the rest of the courthouse staff. And then we had some of the appliances would be in our, what was our report writing and lounge area, the one room. We had some of our appliances in there, and then some of the appliances just lived in the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center. So here we have a kitchen where we can have all of that stuff together in one place, and it makes sense, and it flows, and it makes all the rest of the operation a lot smoother.
I don't see, excuse me, I don't see a deck of cards anymore. Probably in one of the drawers.
So we have cards around. We actually we're working on setting up regular family game nights for staff and their families to be able to come in and play cards. So whether it'll be in the kitchen or in the day room, where the living room area is, it depends on what the game is. Twister wouldn't work very well in a kitchen. It
No.
feels like,
No.
but we've got numerous different puzzles we've put together as crews and things, so it works pretty well. But there was a card game that was played not too long ago, and the scoreboard is up on the board.
I'll do a tell-all here. Okay. Any fighting or?
I wasn't here, so you'd have to ask Brianna or Tim.
Oh, I will right
Yeah.
away. Right when I get back, I'll.
Yep. Brianna's right in here, so.
Okay.
Hi. So then we get into more of the office core.
We'll come back and talk about cards.
So coming around this corner is our meeting room and the EOC.
Oh, what was? Oh, these were offices, or was this all?
So,
room over
so
The
this was
boardroom.
their conference room. Yep, they had the long board table, I believe, was in here.
Yes.
So
Are
these
there
tables-
public meetings here too sometimes?
Well, LEPC is probably public.
Yeah, it'd be open for that. Salvation Army regularly
Yeah.
has their meetings
Seems like
here.
the
Oh, yeah.
city council has been, but maybe
Not
not.
here.
Not
Okay.
here.
Yeah. Yep.
Members
but our-
would come here for meetings like
Okay,
LEPC.
that's maybe what
Yeah,
I'm thinking of.
yeah. The Joint Ambulance Committee meets here. So we just had a meeting here Wednesday night, and it works incredibly well for that. So these tables and a portion of the chairs were purchased off of Wisconsin surplus. So anywhere we had the ability, if it wasn't donated, we've tried to be as fiscally responsible as possible. So if we can find, reduced prices on things, we're going to do that. So each of these tables, I think the cost came out to about $3 a table.
Wow.
So you'll see these tabletops in various places. When we were in the report writing area, those were these tables. Obviously, we've got a good number of them in here, and then the desks in Brianna's office.
Coffee.
There's the coffee.
Yes.
And the
Two.
hearing.
Yeah. Not that you're keeping count.
Well,
So
I
you'll
am.
see in here that these desks are, again, the tabletops are the same. So we actually had these desks built right in this space, so we didn't have to purchase brand new desks. And then trying to find desks that would fit where you'd be able to have two workstations in the same area was going to be difficult. So we've got some pretty skilled staff, and so they were able to actually build these desks. I think the total cost came to about $50. So,
really-
but they definitely look professionally made. And then this is the director's office.
It's a nice office.
Yeah. Yep, it works pretty well. So you've got the normal desk workstation area, and then on the other side of the partition we have a smart board. We were able to get that off of Wisconsin Surplus also. And we also had a couple smart boards donated to us from the Hillsborough School District that they were aging out of their system. So the director's able to have meetings in here and bring stuff up on that screen and be able to work through various projects and have them on a big screen, which is pretty helpful when you're watching weather and those kinds of things.
Coffee.
Yes, 2 of them.
See, 5, 6, 7.
Can never be too awake for this.
Nope. And then this is John's office.
It looks okay.
It's used.
Is it used?
Yes. Thoroughly used.
I won't even go in because there might be like a alarm or something.
But there might be a coffee maker or something.
There probably
Could be a
is.
coffee maker sitting in there.
Where was the drive up? I used to pay my bills. Oh, up.
Over in the other
Okay.
corner.
Oh, yeah.
Where all the furniture
We can go
was
back there
at.
too. I did pick up back there so it doesn't look like a disaster.
Did you clean it?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
So that's where we keep our training supplies. So sometimes when you're doing a training thing, you dig to get stuff out. So we had found, while we were doing the move, we had found this graph of the calls per year from 1986 through 1993, which was pretty interesting to see the number of calls each year that they were having. So for our open house last year, we decided to make our own new bar graph. So
93 was 937. Why the fluctuation, just in general?
yeah, so we've come up with a few different reasons why we suspect there's that change. Some of it is the way that that the population in the county is aging. We're recognizing that as our population ages, you're going to have more people who are aging into the medical difficulties, the different illnesses, the balance issues that lead to falls and general weakness. Because we do, as a general society, we have more of a sedentary lifestyle. So they're also recognizing nationwide that there's an increase in falls. And falls are one of the most common calls that EMS gets called out to. So that's part of it. Part of it, I think, is partly related to that people have less of a support system than they used to have. So when we used to have where people were relying on their children, grandchildren, neighbors for assistance, either getting to the hospital for minor things or for working through like getting lift assistance, that kind of stuff. Now it's more, you know, people are either the caregivers, the loved ones are at work, and they don't want to be bothered, or that the loved one doesn't want to bother them, or that people just don't have that support system in their community, that they live here and their loved ones moved out of the area, and that's a difficulty that, you know, many people face. So we don't have any issue helping people when we're in those circumstances. But then we also have recognized that some of that is related to, we had struggled as a service, as many know, to have steady crews for a while. And so in 2015, that was when we hired our first full-time staff member. And we haven't missed a 911 call for the primary crew since 2015, January 1st, 2015. So we've steadily been able to, build confidence through the community. So people are calling if they need help instead of trying to just get themselves to where they're, to the hospital on their own.
And are transfers part of this at all?
Yeah, we take more transfers now than we used to. So a little bit of that is related to that as well. That we're taking transfers from the Richland Hospital back to Schmidt or Pine Valley, places like that, and then we'll also take transfers from the local hospitals to Madison or La Crosse. We've gone to Rochester a few times. We've gone to Beloit a few times. So we take some of those longer distance transfers. For us to take a transfer, it has to fit within our scope of practice. So from the state's perspective, there's only certain things that we're able to do. So if somebody's having a heart issue, we're typically not going to be able to take that patient because they have medications that the hospital is needing them to be on that we are not allowed to give them because we don't have that level of training.
Okay.
But we can give standard fluids. There are some IV medications that we can administer. And it changes a little bit every year. There's an update in the scope of practice. But there are numerous different patients that we wish we could have taken the transfer for, but it's just outside of what our training allows for. So
Wasn't it always for years? Was it Reedsburg?
Baraboo.
Baraboo.
Yep.
Baraboo.
Yep. Baraboo ambulance was in town, and they had helped us out on a few calls where we would be on a 911 call and needed pain management was a common one, or there are medications for CPR that they would be able to give that we didn't have the protocol to be able to give. So they would help us out sometimes too on some calls. So yeah. Copy room. And then this is our workstation. So we've got 3 different workstations here. They're shared stations. So today Tim and Abby are working in here. Tomorrow Cody will be working in this space. So they do their best to keep their stuff kind of concise. But we do have some things that are getting ready to be shipped out. So hence the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
But again, these workstations, this was just an open space before we moved in, and so you'll see again, same countertops. We had the partitions already, and if we didn't have the things for this, we got them off of Wisconsin Surplus. So once again, we have...
And if you're tall enough, you can just snoop over.
You can.
Yes.
You can. See if
And
they're
you're
in or
short,
not.
Right.
it's a no-go.
You
Yeah.
have to just peek.
Yeah.
The flies like to come into this area. I don't know if they just get lost in the swirl, and I'm a short person, and it's difficult to reach them. So this is one of our bedrooms. You can see Tim has that reserved. His stuff is, he's got his bed made and ready to go for the evening, so that if he gets paged out at 9 o'clock, he doesn't have to come back and try to make his bed to go to sleep, which is smart. And that's the loop.
What puzzle are you working on here? Oh, I can't do these things.
Yep, so one of our members, Tim, he has a sister-in-law who likes to challenge him with puzzles. So we had a Where's Waldo puzzle, and now she got him this pencil puzzle, which has been quite the ordeal.
Mm-hmm. I can see.
Yeah, we've had that one going for a little while.
If I came back next year, it might just still be kind of like this.
It will probably be done by next year.
Okay.
Knowing our people, it will get done.
We're back at the living room.
Yeah.
Did we go this way? No.
So we didn't come back through here before. And it's chilly because the teller window kind of lets in some of that cool
Oh, it
air.
is.
But so this is where the teller window was.
Oh,
We
yeah.
use this for storage for our training equipment. So we've got our CPR mannequins. We've got some trauma practice mannequins, and various equipment stored around. Stop the bleed stuff. And then again, this was the teller window for if you came to pay your bills.
Do you still have people coming up and rapping on the window that they want to pay a bill?
Not on this window that I've heard. We did originally have a couple of people, but we regularly have people go to the front door asking for REC. It's probably 4 times a month, I would say. Goes through waves.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and we get their mail pretty regularly too. But
Yep, that still happens.
yep, for the most part, people have been understanding when they get informed that this is not the REC building anymore. And we've got a map out there to help guide people out to REC's current location. So
So you mean down on Orange? Well, that's
They're on
Genuine
Rob
Tel.
Road now. right?
yep, they're out on
Genuine
Rob
Telecom.
Road.
Oh, they are on Orange as well.
Well, that's the Genuine
That's the other
Telecom,
one,
yeah.
Yep. And then we've also got the vault.
Ooh,
So it's got the thick old door.
yep. This door stays open?
For the most part,
Generally,
yeah.
we never look.
Yeah.
That it would scare me if, you know.
You can get
Yeah.
out if you're inside, you can open it. You don't need to test that though, Ben.
No, I just was going to ask if you could, but I'm not going to. Is there coffee in here?
Yeah, there is
I
no
don't
coffee.
Just in
think there's
case?
a coffee
No.
maker in there.
It's the only coffee-free zone in the building.
So if you were stuck, well, you won't get stuck because you can get out, you said.
There's a lot of reading material if you get stuck
I'm
in
sure.
there.
Yes.
So from the emergency management side, there are documents and records that need to be kept for 30 years. And that's just because of the grants and the funding that paid for that. So most of that kind of stuff is stored in there because it's out of the way. And it has worked pretty well for a general storage of records. So
Anything else? I think we covered everything, didn't we?
Just the garage.
Oh, look, well, yeah, let's try
go
this.
see the rigs. I'll leave my coffee in here. So these posters on the walls were actually an EMS week thing from, I think it was 2017 maybe. That
That's right.
so we had a coloring contest and one of the teachers had challenged their students, rather than coloring the standard, coloring sheet that we had, that they make their own signs. So we thought that was pretty cool. So we've got, you can see a few of the names on them,
Wow.
but some pretty good artists in that class. So we've appreciated those posters for sure. So this is where the ambulances live.
Looks like backing in is easier than at the courthouse.
Yes, it's much easier. So some of the benefits are we've got more room in here, as you can see, but then we also have where we aren't backing in off of the main road.
Right.
So we don't have the traffic at that intersection that we have to constantly be trying to watch for. We don't have anybody who's trying to sneak behind us as we're trying to back the trucks up into the garage. We had that happen a good number of times. So one of the main concerns we have with backing in here is, especially in the summertime, the pool. There is a lot of foot traffic that gets on this road, but we've got the backup alarms, and it's a big shiny thing. So for the most part, people pause to watch us back in rather than try to sneak behind us really quick, which is really helpful that we have a little bit easier of a time backing in. We also have more room between the ambulances. So at the courthouse, when we were backing in, these ambulances were actually just barely able to fit in the garage doors at the courthouse. So we would have to actually fold in our mirrors. So if you're familiar with the way that an ambulance works, you know that your rear view mirror isn't really all that helpful because you've got all of that stuff in between where you can't necessarily see much from your rear view mirror. So you can't generally utilize that. And then if you have to fold in your mirrors because you can't fit in your garage with your mirrors out, that means that if you're not lined up, you're having to use other things as a guide to try to hope and pray you're in the right spot, or you're going to break something and scratch something. So, so this truck in particular, because we had it at the courthouse the longest, there are some scratches on the sides, and the vents would get knocked off every now and again because it was just slightly crooked, so it would catch something in the garage. Here we haven't had anything break yet, and they are getting paged out for a call.
Oh, they'll be coming in here.
Yep. So you get to watch them go.
North Iowa Street in Muscadet for a 93-year-old. Party was fallen overnight and a bruised hip and he's transported to Richland ER. Usually call to Muscadet 413 Iowa Street. 43-year-old party was fallen overnight and a bruised hip.
They didn't say if it was emergent or not. Either way, you'd see the same thing.
Yep. And I'll
Probably don't-
state, this is a Friday morning, and this won't even air until next Wednesday, so this will be
Yeah.
no need to rush to Muscadet for the viewers.
Right.
So someone should be coming, oh, here they are.
That's right. They're there now.
They'll probably take the red truck.
Storage back here.
Storage, a grill.
Grill back
Yes.
here.
Yep.
It's an extension of the kitchen.
Yeah, well, you've had an open house here, and
We did.
Yep. And we, the grill again was donated to the service, so we have been able to we had a picnic for the members and their families. We've got a chaplain program, so currently we've got 3 chaplains in the community that if we have a difficult, challenging call, they can sit down and kind of chat with people and help process some of those more difficult things that we can run into. But they've also they've got a mission of trying to help strengthen that family atmosphere that we have. And we've got a really nice family atmosphere with our service members, but they've done a lot as far as helping us, get together with doing the picnic. We did the picnic in the park and grilled out, so we're able to grill out here now too with that grill, and just being able to do different things. So we try to do different things as a service, to recognize that our members, when we're here, we're working, but we're here, it means that we're separate from our families.
Right.
And it's a lot to ask. A lot of our members do a 24-hour shift at a time. And so for them, they're gone for a full day that they're away from their family. They don't get to see them. They might be able to talk to them on the phone. Sometimes people will be able to bring their families in and, be able to have lunch with them or that kind of thing. But that's only if they live fairly locally. Otherwise, they have to take a special trip. So we need to recognize that there is that aspect of that. And family is incredibly important, especially for the work that we do. We value connection and family. And so if we can foster that and encourage those kinds of gatherings, it goes a long way. We like people to be connected.
do you have family in for holidays, for example? Did you have Christmas and Thanksgiving here?
Yeah, so there are different people who have done those kinds of gatherings. So we have had people get together for Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's not necessarily organized through the service, But we have in the past had Christmas gatherings and that kind of thing. We've talked about doing Secret Santa and having stockings and things. So I think that's one of those things that we're still new to the building and being able to have a space that we can do some of those
Yep.
those kinds of gatherings. But we have our Halloween open house, and that's been a staple that we've been doing for years now. But that kind of turns into we have chili in the kitchen and that kind of thing, and people will hang out and be able to play cards and different things while
Yeah.
people are trick or treating around. And I think we're going to see more and more of those, where people are coming together.
Yeah. You're kind of new to the neighborhood, so you get to know that.
We are, yep. And we've got a pretty good neighborhood we're in.
Yeah. I guess this is the way out.
Yep.
Are we done? Is
Yeah.
that it?
Yeah.
I've seen
Help us.
tons of stuff. Okay, well, thank you, Amber and John.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you have anything that you wanted to talk about, John?
Just information he can look at later on, so you have an idea how emergency management works for the county.
Good. I can have this.
Those are your copies.
Okay, thank you.
And you can add those to the presentation for some reference.
So I got to study this then and
background.
get back.
You got to be good at this.
There's
You
a
gotta
quiz coming up. I don't know
there'll
if
be
you
all
were
kinds of
informed,
quizzes.
but
I
So-
don't. No, yeah.
If you were around in 2007, 2008 when we had those floods, all of this and aspects of this were activated countywide to respond to those floods and help recover from those floods. This is the guidance for all of the response there. And now this year, for the first time, FEMA is orienting community response more towards what that county needs rather than what the state of Wisconsin dictates to the county, which is a little bit different than it had been done. And FEMA is supporting the state mission to go out and survey the needs of the community and get everyone's input. And then from that input, create an integrated preparedness plan and follow that plan and keep updating it as you go live so that the preparedness you have and the response you have to disasters meets the exact needs of the community the disaster happens in. So that's kind of a new emphasis for the state, for the feds, and now for us as a county. So we're aligning more with community resilience than just emergency response. But you're trying to give the emergency response people the ability to be responders while we do the management in the background to it, which is a little bit different also. So you want to free up your response community to respond. And you want your emergency management department to do all of the preparedness and the planning and the paperwork, basically.
So instead of with the emphasis, we are a reactive people.
We had been,
We need more preventative.
we are doing that.
Yep.
At the federal level, at the state level, and now at the county level.
I don't know if they're current statistics, but I know when I first started in the department, it was for $1 spent in mitigation, it would save $8 in response and recovery. So if we can do more of this planning and training and that kind of thing ahead of the emergency, then we can get ahead of the extensive cost. And that's just the financial cost. That's not talking about we had a flood in the basement, we lost all of our family pictures and heirlooms and things like that. And those are super common stories that you hear around.
Prevention isn't always exciting.
It
isn't
it's just the
always.
reaction.
That's
that
why
gets
it's
all
hard
the-
to get people focused on this phase of it, is
Yep.
because it's not something you stay engaged with for very long.
Yeah.
You need to, or you need to find somebody who's willing to do that so that you have continuity in that process. But to keep various types of people constantly engaged in it, pretty hard to do. And we're trying to do that with the Richland County Resilience Group that we have right now. It's similar to what Monroe County did a few years ago with Green Fire. We're trying to be more forward-looking, and we're trying to keep enthusiasm and motivation going for exactly that, for the vulnerability assessments that require the preparedness, that require resilience thinking, that go into much longer term and slower and less exciting
Right.
planning and pre-prep. So, yeah, you're right. A lot of people will not stay engaged with it for very long. Then they move on to something else. Whereas with this kind of thing here, you really have to be in it for the long haul. So, and we may have to change some people out from time to time. They get busy with other things. Then we had to bring some new folks in and help with resilience planning longer term. But yeah, hopefully we can keep the momentum going in preparedness and future resilience.
All right, good.
And then just to add one last thing, certainly not the least, just want to again thank Bob Simpson and the REC board and Shannon Clark. This building would not have been a possibility for us if it wasn't for those guys coming to the table and helping us to be able to financially afford this. With this building, it's been able to help us in recruiting new members and retaining those members. People feel happy and comfortable to be able to work here. It's a welcoming environment, and it wouldn't have been possible at all if it hadn't been for those guys. So thank you so much. I hope you know how much we appreciate this.
Well, another thing here in the community center is the Woodman Senior Center, so it's a place to go and hang out with friends. I'm enjoying right now the aroma of lunch. We hope you'll come back next week and every week to see our town.